Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to another episode of WalkAway with Brandon Straka. I've got more music, Rob. I've got music playing. There we go. That's all right. Hang tight with us for just a second. We're having some technical difficulties. Rob, I'm hearing everything back. Yep, that's what's happening.
It's fine, bro.
All right, we're back. We're back. Sorry about that. I was lesson learned. It's the third episode. Anyway, that's perfectly in keeping with what this last week has been like. This last week has been a roller coaster of everything up and down and everything in between that you can possibly imagine. Let's revisit the week for a moment before we move into our first guest. So last week on Thursday, I came out with my interview with Roseanne, which was incredible. I hope that you all saw it. And if you didn't, after you're finished watching this, watch the interview with Roseanne. She was so amazing. She was so candid. She was so open, and we ended up spending the whole hour talking. What I thought was so amazing was I actually was the one who wrapped up the interview. I feel like if I had just kept talking, she probably would have stayed for 3 hours. And totally opened up, totally candid and transparent. And we talked about everything from politics, liberalism, the Democratic Party, her own walkaway story. But what I thought was so amazing is that she really opened up to me about the tweet and about her feelings about that. And then we got into the show and we talked about what happened. What is the fate of Roseanne Connor? And Roseanne Barr told us that the fate of Roseanne Connor is that they are going to kill her off through an opioid overdose. Which, on the one hand, is a subject that I think is important to talk about in American culture today. But on the other hand, Roseanne said it was so cold and so cruel the way that they handled this, and we talked about this being almost a symbolic gesture in a way, killing the voice of a Trump supporter. I think in such a cold and cruel way. Well, the media has picked up on this exclusive information today, and Roseanne and I actually totally blew up the internet today. We were the top story on TMZ literally just a few minutes ago. I don't know if it still is. We were in People magazine today. We were in Entertainment Weekly. We were in Page 6, Good Day LA. This exclusive information about the fate of Roseanne Connor dying of an opioid overdose. It's tragic enough, I think, that Roseanne lost her whole life's work, not to mention had her entire reputation tarnished over a misunderstanding over a tweet and an intentional misunderstanding. I don't truly believe that anybody on the left actually thinks that Roseanne is a racist. They were given the excuse that they were looking for to take her voice away from her. But anyway, it's an incredible interview, and watch it if you have not yet. She was so amazing. Then let's fast forward to Monday. As many of you know, the Walkaway campaign is doing the Walkaway March on Washington on October 26th through the 28th, this whole weekend. On Friday, October 26th, we're having a gala dinner at Trump International Hotel. On Saturday, October 27th, we'll have the march and the rally. We'll be marching from the DNC to our nation's capital, quite literally. Walking away from the Democratic Party. It will culminate in a rally in front of the Capitol building. It's going to be a stunning backdrop. We're going to have amazing speakers, an incredible rally. We'll segue into some incredible entertainment, and it's going to be a really, really great, energizing, motivating day, talking about why it's so important for all of us to get out and vote on November 6th in these midterm elections. It's, I think, more important possibly than ever. We have a very atypical president in the office right now who's doing incredible things for this country. And if we want to see this country stay on the path it's on right now, which I think is actually amazing. I mean, we're seeing African-American unemployment at an all-time low, Hispanic unemployment at an all-time low. The GDP is up and people are actually feeling confident once again in where our country is headed, opening small businesses. People are seeing more money in their paychecks, lower taxes. All of this is going to go away if we don't kill it in November in these midterm elections. So that's really what the Walkaway March on Washington is all about. And something that I think is so important, another reason why I do this, or I'm doing this March on Washington, is as I've said time and time again, the Democratic Party has done an incredible job of marketing itself at minority groups in America, telling Black people, telling LGBT people, telling Hispanic people, telling Jewish people, telling any racial minority, any minority group of any kind, including women, that they are the only party that has their back, that these are victim classes of people, that they can't succeed in America, that the right is out to get them, Republicans are out to get them, that you must vote Democrat. We've bought into this lie for long enough, and it's time for us to walk away. And what I really want is to have this massive demonstration in which, by the way, it's going to be telecast. So people who aren't able to make it to the march will be able to see it in their own homes. I want for Black people, Hispanic people, gay people, I want all people to be watching in their homes if they're not able to be there live, and to see hordes of Black people walking away from the Democratic Party, Jewish people, Hispanic people, gay people. I want them to watch and see for the first time what is going on here, what is happening, that you don't have to be a Democrat if you are a minority in America. You don't have to be a liberal. You have a choice. And I want people to see their own demographics in real life, walking away from the Democratic Party, and to be able to ask this question, what's happening here? So many people are feeling uncomfortable, and I think they've been feeling uncomfortable for a long time. They're sick of the identity politics. They're sick of the political correctness. They're sick of the fake news. They're sick of the censorship. We're getting there. We'll get into that in just a minute. And they're sick and tired of the socialism and the communism and the lies that they're hearing from the Democratic Party. And they've been feeling uncomfortable about this for a long time, but they don't feel like they have permission to ask these questions that they're feeling or to act on the questions that they have. That's what the Walkaway campaign is all about. It's giving people permission to say something is not right here. And I'm not comfortable over here anymore. I don't want this anymore, and I want to walk away. And it's giving people permission to do that. And that's why I want people to be able to see this mass demonstration on the weekend of October 26th to the 28th of people walking away from the Democratic Party. So on Monday of this week, I went on InfoWars to talk to Alex Jones about the Walkaway March on Washington weekend. Now, let me be clear, as I've been clear many times before, I know that Alex Jones is a controversial figure. I know that he's a polarizing figure, and people have very strong, passionate feelings one way or another about Alex Jones. I didn't go on his show as an endorsement or a condemnation of him or his personal character. I went on his show to talk about the Walkaway March on Washington. The man has been very open and hospitable to me, welcoming me on his platform to talk about the Walkaway movement and the Walkaway campaign. And so that's what I went on his show to do. So on Monday, I went on #Walkaway campaign group page on Facebook, and I said, as I always do, because the Patriots in the Walkaway campaign love to see what's going on, how they can get involved. They love to follow the media, whether it's a radio show that I'm doing, whether it's Fox News, anything in between. I always like to keep people abreast of the happenings, and they love to follow along. So I went in to the #Walkaway group page on Facebook, and I said, hey, Patriots, I'm going live on InfoWars in 15 minutes. Be sure to tune in. 2 days later, on Wednesday, I had a message on my Facebook page when I went to open it saying, you have engaged in conduct that violates our code of ethics, blah, 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 whatever. Then they showed a screenshot of me saying the word Infowars.com. I thought nothing of it. I clicked continue. Okay, fine, whatever. I got to the next page and I had a message from Facebook that said, because you use the word Infowars.com, you are banned from Facebook for 30 days. You cannot communicate with your group. I cannot message. I can't communicate. Now, October 26th to the 28th, that's just over a month from now. We are trying to raise $500,000 to do the Walkaway March on Washington weekend. We're doing an outstanding job of doing grassroots fundraising at this point, but it is crucial that I be able to communicate with my people in the group to answer questions, to organize, to raise money. I nearly had a nervous breakdown when I got this message. I honestly, one of my first thoughts was we're going to have to close down the march. Like, how are we possibly going to fundraise? How are we possibly going to organize? How can we possibly do this? So I took to Twitter, and I got on Twitter and I said, I've just been banned on 30 days, for 30 days on Facebook. Can anybody help? What do I do? Luckily, because I, over the last 3 to 4 months, have sort of risen in stature to become a conservative public figure to a certain degree with a platform. People know who I am, and they're willing to rally behind me. I have media that's willing to step in on my behalf. I have a group of followers that's willing to raise hell on my behalf. And because of that, we were able to get the attention of the media. I did an onslaught of interviews starting on Wednesday. I did 12 interviews on Thursday, and I had more scheduled for the rest of the week. So Thursday, I had 12 interviews. I was doing them back to back to back to back. It was an incredibly crazy day. In between doing interviews, I managed to take emergency meetings with my crew from the WalkAway campaign, trying to find a solution to the problem of not being able to communicate with the group. So I didn't have a chance to check my text messages. It wasn't until Thursday evening that I was able to check my text messages, and I had a text message from a reporter, a liberal reporter, a very, very leftist liberal reporter, saying to me, Brandon, Facebook reached out to me to tell me that they lifted your ban earlier today. Why are you lying and continuing the narrative that you are banned when you are not? Now, my first thought, I don't even know what my first thought was. I think my first thought was, huh? So I went on Facebook and I looked, and sure enough, the ban had been lifted. Now, my second thought was, why is Facebook reaching out to a liberal reporter to let them know that I'm unbanned and not me? But it was too late, because the reporter had already done a hit piece on me saying that I lied about the ban, that I was one of many conservatives, celebrities following this current trend of pretending to be banned on social media when I am not, and saying that this whole narrative of social media censoring conservatives is bogus. They cited Diamond and Silk. They cited me. I think they also may have cited David Harris Jr., any number of us that go through this. So this is very, very interesting that, Facebook thought to reach out to a liberal reporter, and that ended up in the news before I even had a chance to find out that I myself had been unbanned. Fascinating stuff. So that just gives you a little insight as to how this all seems to operate and how this all went down. I am back on Facebook, thank goodness. But, as I was just saying, that's because I am in a position right now where I have tens of thousands of followers on multiple platforms. I have media that actually takes action when I tweet, and this sort of conservative support militia behind me. Most conservatives don't have this. For most conservatives who use the wrong words that Zuckerberg and the heads of Twitter have decided are not acceptable for you to use, words like InfoWars, Alex Jones. I mean, the idea, I wasn't even stating an opinion. I wasn't making a provocative statement. Thank you, Paul, for your $100 donation. Thank you so much. I wasn't even making a controversial statement. I wasn't forming an opinion. I wasn't talking about abortion. I wasn't talking about immigration. I was literally telling people to tune into an interview that I was doing on a website. And for that, because I used the word InfoWars, they felt it appropriate to ban me for 30 days. This is crazy. Censorship is something that conservatives need to band together and have a very serious conversation about. And I think I'm going to talk to my first guest about that tonight. I'd like to get right into it. So my first guest tonight had to go into politics because he's so ugly. Okay, that's a lie. He's not. But he actually started out as a model, and then he became a famous actor in Hollywood, and then he found himself in the world of politics, which I find completely fascinating. Hold on one moment. My TV just turned on by itself. Oh. Poltergeist. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome to the show tonight and future Congressman Antonio Sabato Jr.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Antonio, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I want to congratulate you for everything you're doing. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. Antonio and I actually met. Well, Antonio reached out to me on Twitter several months ago to just lend me some support and say, way to go with the WalkAway campaign. It was so great to receive that message. And then we actually got to meet in person in August, I believe, in Los Angeles at Dinesh D'Souza's premiere of his film Death of a Nation, which is an incredible movie that everybody should see if you have not seen it. So, Antonio, so much to talk about. And I want to kind of just dive in. I want to just kind of dive right in with you. Yeah. So I'm looking at your bio that was sent to me by your campaign manager. And the opening statement is, Antonio Sabato Jr. learned the value of freedom and the importance of having a strong work ethic at a very young age. His grandmother was a Holocaust survivor and taught Antonio the need to stand up for justice. His mother escaped communism in Czechoslovakia and met Antonio's father in Italy. So you come from a family that's experienced a lot of political strife and political drama. So is your grandmother still alive?
No, my grandmother passed away, but I remember her being one of the strongest women I ever met. I mean, to survive and to lose your family at Auschwitz during World War II by the Germans and Hitler. My family and I, we've seen socialism, liberalism, communism. You mentioned all that stuff, all the worst stuff. We've seen it. We don't want it in this country. That's the reason why we were so blessed to come to this country. We came here legally. We followed the law. We never took any dime from this country. All this welfare programs, California, the rest of the country's got to stop. You got to come here, do everything legally. I have this whole solution for the immigration because I've done it twice. I came here once legally, then we ran out of money. We had to go back to Italy, stayed there for a year, came back again the second time, and still didn't take any money from the programs that they were offering. As a matter of fact, in 1985, Brandon, when you came over here and you had a green card, you had to sign a paper that said you had to have a guarantee of a job for both of my parents for the next 6 months. Otherwise, you were not going to come into this country. That's just the way it is. It's the law. You have a job, you can work, you can benefit, give back to the country, and do everything right with your green card. Sooner or later, you'll have a choice to become an American citizen. And so things have changed. The liberals, the Democrats have opened this border in ways that I have never even imagined. They want open borders. They want more programs for the illegal immigrants who are coming here and using them. And then the Democrats use the Latino community as their slave. That's what they do best. They use them. They promise all this stuff. We're going to keep you in this country. You can keep working like this under these circumstances. And at the end of the day, they get nothing. This is not about Republicans and Democrats. This is about what is right and what is wrong. And these people in California, Sacramento, and in Washington, D.C., they don't care about you or me or this country. They don't survive on people that are making money. They survive on poverty. People are doing worse. They survive. That's socialism right there. And if you don't know about it, go live in Venezuela for a couple of weeks and find out for yourself. Go to China and find out for yourself and live on $1 a week, maybe if you're lucky. It's crazy. And so the Democrats have to be stopped. You did an amazing thing. I think everyone should walk away from that party because they're the most racist. They're most evil. They have no facts. They attack you. They attack your personal character, everything like that. But I keep God close. We got a bigger picture, and we're going to win on November 6th. And everybody's got to go out there and vote because this country and our Constitution depends on it.
I think that on the topic of just say immigration, illegal immigration, their rhetoric, as you were saying a moment ago, the racist thing, the rhetoric surrounding that issue in particular, I've always found completely confounding. I mean, it's just so all over the place. On the one hand, they'll say things like, well, if we don't allow illegal immigration, who's going to do all these low-level jobs that no one else wants to do for absolutely no money? And it's like, well, that's a great incentive to bring people over to this country. That doesn't sound that much different than slavery to me. The other thing I find fascinating is how they talk endlessly about what a racist country America is, and yet they want to bring everybody over to this country who isn't white. Right. So, I mean, are people getting a better life in this country, or are they not? What are your thoughts about that?
This is the greatest country in the world, and we take pride in our Constitution. We take pride in our 27 beautiful amendments. We take pride in law enforcement. I used to remember everyone taking pride in Made in the USA. Remember that? Or our flag that I have right here, and our soldiers that are dying. Veterans should have free medical. 24 hours, veterans, all veterans. There shouldn't be anything, should not be any excuses whatsoever. But then we're spending $26 billion, 100 and some billion dollars a year on immigration every year. We could be building 10 walls, close the border. And if people that are here, been here for 10, 20 years, who are here illegally, who are working, like my friends, people that I know, but the system has been broken. They live in Oxnard, they want to go to work and this and that. I say, you do it the right way. We're not going to kick you back. If you did everything legally, you're not arrested. You belong in this country. You work hard. A lot of these families are working hard. Their kids are going to school, but we got to stop paying for all these programs, and we got to start taking care of the American people. So there's a lot of things that we need to really redo and make it better and follow the law at the end of the day. There's a federal law in the entire country. We have to follow it. But as you know, the Democrats, they convince people in propaganda, in the media, that, we got to help everybody. But in the meantime, we have more people living on the street. California is the poorest state in 50 states. Yeah, we're making billions of dollars, and the companies like, Facebook and whatever, all these companies are making a lot of money, but people are living on the street. Jobs are leaving, high taxes. It's high on everything. If you want to buy anything, it's over and over and over taxed, and we don't get nothing in return. The politicians in Sacramento get richer. They're just bad people. I had a firm that worked for me in the primary, Venture Strategic. You remember this firm, Venture Strategic, Jeff Corliss. You're not a good person, man. You went after money for me. You didn't do anything for my campaign whatsoever. Now you're trying to get all this money away from me. And listen, I got to tell you, this political world has built me up, has made me such a stronger person, my friend. I love this country more. Like all these attacks from people in our party, people outside of the party, liberals, everything like that. I'm going to fight for our country and our military, our law enforcement, my sheriff department, my police station, my farmers, everybody in between, my gun owners, the Second Amendment. There's so much, and our veterans. I am so passionate that as soon as I get in office, November 6th, we've got a lot of work to do, my friend. We're going to work together, all of us, to make sure that this country is safe and keeps getting better and better on the right path that we're on now.
I love it. And when you talk, Antonio, I can feel like you have a passion, you have an intensity. I can feel it. So what I'd like to do is actually dial back a little bit, because, you got your start as a model and an actor. And don't worry, we're not going to spend like a ton of time on this, but I just want to know, because this fascinates me. Okay. So you said that your family came to America twice. When you came the second time, did you move to California?
Yeah, we came to California both times, and because my father was still trying to still act, and that was really tough on my dad, because after doing 60-some movies, he came to this country, and there was nobody in Hollywood that helped him out. He had to struggle. He had to get other jobs, obviously, because all the auditions were for, people with accents. He couldn't play the lead role. It was just very racist in every way. Like, my father was treated like a second ordinary person after doing movies like Grand Prix, won 3 Academy Awards, and so much, So that built me up even more to become an actor, because I said, this is wrong. I'm gonna become the biggest Sabato here, and I'm gonna work hard, and I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that I become famous, that I do everything for my family, and I work hard, and that's how I started. And I had an amazing career. Never had a problem in Hollywood until I said, listen, Donald Trump is my president, I support him. And after that, I was the first celebrity to come out nationwide and say, this is my guy. And then when I spoke at the RNC, my friend, when I came back from Cleveland, it was all over. I was blacklisted completely, and it's been a battle, but we're gonna fight. At the end of the day, we're gonna fight for what is right, and this is wrong. We gotta bring it back and say this is wrong in every level.
But okay, but hang tight though, because you just skipped over a whole bunch of stuff there. That's okay. So first of all, were you always a conservative?
No, I actually wasn't. I mean, I never really cared about this political world, because I said it's just there's nothing you can do about it. Everybody's gonna say one thing. Everybody's gonna lie. And then so when I started supporting this guy, our president, I just went out and I just started learning from my own ways about how it really is from both parties. I was just kind of walking in the rooms, listening to politicians, meeting them, getting my home view, because I was always the guy that I learned from the streets. I travel, I learned from books, obviously, but I always travel and learn from people more than anything. And I wanted to learn about this business because I was called to be in politics sooner or later. And I tell you, since I moved to this country, now I see it. When you're open to seeing the whole picture, because now you were this close at first, you couldn't see the whole canvas. Now you can see the Democratic Party, what they stand for, and how much money they make on people's lives. Some of them have killed people and have done a lot of bad stuff. And, Hillary Clinton left our soldiers to die, our Americans to die in Benghazi. And that is something you can never allow to happen ever again. Those are people that I know that survived it, and we lost people. We can't do that again. We can't allow people to get so much power that they can decide people's lives and leaving our men to die in other countries in vain like that. So, and so many other things, so many scandals, and still right now, look what you see right now, because they lost their campaign. They lost the biggest election ever. Now everyone who's associated with America or anything related to America are called every name in the book. It's just sad. It's cruel. They attack not only you and your pride and your dignity, they attack everything, your personal life, your children, your family. And I'm going to stand up for that, because people need to understand the Democratic Party will continue to use you, to go after you, to make sure that you fall into this trap, and you got to get out of it. It's bad.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, I agree with that completely, Antonio. And I think that, this having Donald Trump be elected president brought into focus for so many of us clearly what was going on the left, what was going on with the Democratic Party, what was going on with liberalism. Now, unfortunately, for a lot of people on the left, it's actually blurred things even more. So for some of us, it's much like, for me, I'm one of the lucky ones who it just made everything crystal clear. And now I was like, wow, I had everything so wrong this whole time. Now, meanwhile, the people who haven't walked away yet they're just they're like zombies being led by the media. I think, the things that they're believing that the media is telling them, it just becomes more outlandish every passing day, I feel like.
Well, there's no rules and no regulations. They want to be doing everything they want to do every day with no laws at all. There's no 10 commandments in here. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that they have to follow. Everything is all over the place. Today is about our Judge Kavanaugh. Tomorrow is about the president again. Tomorrow is about his wife. It's always about picking and destroying the integrity of people's lives, and there's no solutions to the real problems. Our homelessness, our veterans, and so much more. How come we're not talking about that anymore? So I'm going to keep focusing. Ventura County, I'm coming for you. I love you. I live in Ventura County. I take pride in living here. We're going to work so hard for you. I'm so excited.
I love it. And you're so right. They don't want to talk about veterans. They don't want to talk about, the issues that people really care about, that really affect people's lives. They'd rather talk about Stormy Daniels and fake Russian collusion stories. I feel like they're on this mission. I think it almost drives them crazy that they're not able to brainwash the rest of us.
People forget that Obama talked about it clearly. He was doing cocaine when he was in college, okay? Nobody talks about that. You forget about those things. So, or our President Clinton, what about him, what he did in the Oval Office? People forget about that too. So we have a president who didn't have the perfect life. Nobody does. Nobody's perfect. Nobody will ever be perfect. There was only one. His name is Jesus. And this president has been through so much. And now he's actually, I believe it. I believe this man had a talk with God and said, listen, you really want me to go in this office and do this? Because I'm not the right guy for it. And he put him there for a reason. Because now, in his later years, he's doing it for the right. He's not doing it for the money. He's doing it for the country. He knows that this country was doing really bad, and now it's going to be doing a lot better. It's already doing incredibly better, but it's going to be even more amazing in the next few years. So I'm excited to be part of that, and I think you should be too, because we're part of this movement, and we're going to keep fighting because we love this flag right here, and I'm proud of that, and we're going to keep fighting for it.
Excellent. All right. We have to, for a second, jump back to Hollywood. I'm so sorry, but we have to, because this is important.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
I have to ask you, for all the years that you were working, you were on General Hospital, you were on Melrose Place. I know you did a ton of movies. I don't mind. I was obsessed with you. Okay. You were. Yeah. Yes. So how is it during that time? What was it like for you being in Hollywood during that time as somebody who wasn't a liberal, wasn't a Democrat? What was the climate? What was the atmosphere like?
I would speak my mind, and if we had conversations on sets, and I would just speak about things that like God, or things that are personal to me, or whatever, conservative values, and then the conversation would kind of turn into a negative way from their perspective. So I would just let it go, and that's how it is, and I would move on. Like I said, I would treat my job like work. I would punch in and leave. And then I would step away from that world, because that world is, at the end of the day, the majority is not good for you. A lot of people don't care about each other. They're very selfish when it comes down to it. Everybody wants the big movie, the big money. They'll walk all over everybody. They'll sleep with everybody. It's just the way it is. It's just free for all. And I'm not part of that. I live my life, after things that I believe in. And I don't have to follow the same herd, like everybody, the sheep. Everybody follows everything. That's what Hollywood has become. Nobody has their own opinion about anything. Everybody says the same thing. And now it's all about the same thing every day. It's about the president, what he did do or didn't do, and it's all his fault, and it's got to stop, because we have serious issues in this country, and we got to tackle those issues, and we got to help a lot of people. And I'm the man for the job, man. I'm excited. But Hollywood is you know, there's a lot of good people in Hollywood who are afraid to speak because they've been making their living doing something for a long time, and they don't want to be fired. And they get fired all the time. They get released for no reason. And you're like, I was working on the movie, and what happened? So, and I know a lot of them, and it's not good. And so we need to be able to be more free in the sense that, hey, we're all Americans here. We all want what's best for this country. And but they're very upset. They're very upset, and they're going to continue to be upset, and that's okay. But I can't change their minds. All I can do is live a good life and show what I can do, and hopefully do better for the people in my community.
Well, see, this is what I think is actually really frightening about what you just said is that there's sort of this only one acceptable point of view in Hollywood, and if you don't subscribe to that point of view, you could lose your whole livelihood. You could be blacklisted. You could, so these are the people who are in charge of creating the movies and the television that sort of inform our culture to a certain degree, that young kids and people coming up in America, they see this, they're only seeing one point of view. We don't really get to hear a spectrum of different opinions in Hollywood films. It's indoctrination.
I can tell you why a lot of actors, they're really spewing a lot of hate, is because and I try to be realistic about it. To become an actor takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication, not only to get the job and audition and do all that, but actually to follow through and get good projects, hope the projects do well, and so forth. So by the time they get famous, they earn so much that they feel like, well, now I can tell the world how everyone should live because I went through so much and so much hell to get to here, and now I can tell you how to live. And that's just wrong. I always treated acting as a job. Because I made movies, because I'm known all over the world, I'm no better than you. You're no better than me. We're all on the same level. And Hollywood is very much opposite on that because they believe they're above everybody else. And if you don't follow their rules, which are always wrong to begin with, then you fall off the wagon and you're in a bad spot. You can't be accepted anymore. It's their own club. And that's why I live my life in Ventura County and not in LA, because I'm done with the whole world. And I should be able to go to work, do my job as an actor, pay me as an actor or a writer. If I'm writing a script, maybe I want to direct or do whatever, and then leave the work there and then go home.
Antonio, I'm looking at some of the comments here, and everybody is like absolutely in love with you. Someone named Name says, go vote for Antonio. DM says, yes, vote for Antonio if you can. All right. And someone else said, I love me some Brandon. Okay. I'm just throwing that in there.
Of course.
So you guys, if you have any questions for Antonio, put them in here now because I'm going to ask him a few more questions. I'll check back and see what you'd like to know from him. All right, so let's talk about, in 2016, you came out in support of the president, and you said you were blacklisted at that point.
Yeah, it was really so obvious, I mean, I had also jobs, I had jobs lined up with ABC and Disney that were pulled away, and
wow.
And then my manager, my agent, everybody left. They don't want nothing to do with me. I was carrying the plague. I was a different person when I came back. 24 hours later, I was completely blacklisted, and I knew it too well. My family's been through it. My mother's been through it. I've seen it with my own eyes, and that happened to me. But that only made me stronger because they're obviously afraid of something. They're afraid of the truth, and I'm coming in strong, and that's why I'm in this position. So I thank them. I thank them for blacklisting me because now I'm running for my county. I'm going to win for the American people and everyone who lives in Ventura County, and I'm proud of that.
Antonio, I think that, because you talked a little bit about your family's background and fascism and socialism and the detrimental effects that these things had on your parents and your grandparents. I feel like the times we live in right now are so sort of insidious because what we're seeing now is, I believe, to be behaviors that are directly in alignment with fascism, but it's actually from people who feel like they're fighting fascism. I mean, you know what I mean? They feel like they are fighting on the right side. They think that they're on the right side of history, and they're engaging in the exact same behaviors that they're claiming to fight against.
Right, makes no sense whatsoever.
How do you get through to these people?
Well, you just gotta get in front of their faces. I do. My entire team. I want to actually thank my entire team, my volunteers. We do walks every day. I try to hit 100 homes every day, knock on their doors, and making sure that I'm there. The first thing you got to understand is that we have to be available for the people.
Right.
My community has never seen a representative from my opposition who's been in Congress for 6 years. For 6 years, they have not seen her. She doesn't live in my county. Julia Brownlee doesn't live here, doesn't take pride in living in Ventura County. They bought her a house just to say she lives here, but she's been in Santa Monica. She says she's fighting for the veterans, but the president fought for the veterans. She didn't do anything about it. She's not fighting for our homelessness. You know, she's sitting on millions of dollars on their campaign, apparently. Why don't you give $100,000 to our shelter home? Why don't you help people getting off the street? It's not your money. It's the campaign money that you actually accumulated from the people. And so much more. And we had a lot of incidents recently. The crime has gone up. We got to stop that. We got to follow the law. We got to give tools to our sheriff department, our police officers to do their job. And they're having a hard time. And, you know, we have to be pro-America in every sense of the word. And I'm proud of that because we haven't stopped 7 days a week, all the way down to November 6th. And we're going to win this, man. We're going to win this big time.
You know, I was going to kind of segue into asking you how you transitioned from Hollywood into politics, but it's so self-evident. I mean, when you speak, again, I mean, you have such passion and intensity, and it's so obvious that these things are very important to you. You really care about this, and you really care about people. I mean, imagine that, a politician who really cares about people.
I care about people. I always have, Brandon, my entire life. I always like shake people, you know, look them in the eye and say, listen, you have something to say, you know. A good friend of mine, you know, is in a hard time right now with drug and addiction. I'm helping him out. We help each other. My community, the friends that I have close, I have goosebumps right now. We try to save ourselves. And I deal with a lot of people that are dealing with being addicted to all kinds of stuff. And we're trying to save their lives. You know, I am proud to say I'm a recovering addict. I've been clean for a long time, and I'm proud of that. I'm fighting every day to make sure that people get the attention that they need and get off the streets, because we're losing people to addiction in every way.
Right.
We have addiction in all kinds of ways, and it's overboard right now. It's like overfloating, and the ship is sinking, and we can't allow that to happen. So, yeah, I help people, man, and I'm going to continue to. And then when I'm in office, that's where the job happens. When you're in office, then you just got to start working even more, because I want to get things done. I want to get policies done. I want to help my community. I want to help my small business go to the next level and make more money. I want less government. And I want, you know, I don't want too much government, but I want enough to say, listen, I don't need you today. I don't need you today. I'm good. I can take care of myself. But now we have so much government in California. It's just overrun by their ideas and policies, and we got to stop that. I'm going to protect my Ventura County for sure.
What are the issues that are most important to you?
I think immigration touches everybody. You know, immigration and regulations for small businesses. We got to tackle that. We got to make sure that what's happening in the rest of the country is happening here in Ventura County. People are leaving. Businesses are leaving. They can't cope with all these regulations and overtaxing everybody. We got to stop that. We got to make sure that it's the Golden State, you know, where people come here and thrive, get better. But instead, government in Sacramento gets richer, but they're in bankruptcy almost in California. And then we have people living on the street everywhere. And it's just, it's socialism. And that's how I can explain it. And so we have to do so much work. Our farmers, my friends, are dealing with so much regulations in the farms. We got to help them. And our police officers, like I said, it's just so much work to do. And I listen, you know, the type of politician that I am, and I take pride in this, is that I listen to my community. They tell me exactly what they need, and then I do what they want me to do. That's how it should be. Not all these ideas that are coming for private interests and donors and the party telling me what to do. I'm not owned by anyone. God and me, and I'm doing this for the American people. Nobody's paying me money to do things for them. Nobody's doing any of that stuff. And I will continue to have that integrity intact.
Antonio, before we wrap up, can you just let us know, are there any calls to action that you have for anybody who's watching to help out your campaign, or where should we find you? How can they get involved? Do you need people to make a donation? Like, how can people help out?
Yes, please donate to, you can go to voteantonio.com. That's my website, voteantonio.com. You can donate as little, as much as you want. I think the max is $2,700, but anything below that, you can donate $5, whatever. We get donations from 50 states. It's amazing. So donations, if you want to walk, if you want to be part of the campaign, call us. It's all there on the website. My social is all Twitter, Antonio Sabato Jr., Instagram and Facebook, all under my name. And yeah, you're welcome to come and help us out. We're doing this 7 days a week, so get comfortable shoes and let's walk.
That sounds amazing. You know, after maybe Maybe after I do the March on Washington, I'll come out to California. I'll still have about 7 to 10 days. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Let's do that. That'd be great.
You and I are going to keep in touch. I would love to come out and talk to the people, talk to your constituents. But yes, let's do that. I love this idea.
Thank you very much.
Of course, I'd be happy to do it. Antonio, is there anything else you'd like to say before you go?
I just want to say thanks to everybody who's watching. Thank you, and everyone who's part of the panel. You guys are awesome. Let's keep fighting the fight. We're going to win at the end of the day, and it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, and God bless America.
Yeah, Antonio, it's so great to have you on our team. You're a super passionate guy. You're super, and I think that you are exactly what America needs right now. And we are wishing you the best of luck. Support Antonio Sabato Jr.'s campaign, everybody. What a great guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thank you.
Rob, do we have time to take a quick break? Yeah, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. I'm so excited about my next guest. You guys are going to love this girl from Twitter. I'm going to tell you all about her. She's incredible. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Dear America, it's time. On May 26th of this year, I released a video explaining all of the reasons why I was walking away from liberalism and the Democratic Party, and I launched the WalkAway campaign. By the thousands, patriots from all over America joined the campaign and created their own testimonials explaining why they too were walking away or walking with. Americans from all different backgrounds, beliefs, and walks of life came together in unity, in support, and in patriotism. We found civility again. We reclaimed our common humanity. We rediscovered hope. I watched with immeasurable pride as Americans who had sat by silently for so long began to find their voice, to speak their truth, and to push back against hate with love. But then something began to happen. The liberal media tried to steal the voices of Americans once again. Russian propaganda, Russian bots, paid actors, fake people, fake pictures, fake testimonials. They've attacked you, lied about you, and they've tried to silence you. Well, it's time for the silent majority to become unsilent. I am officially announcing the WalkAway March on Washington. On October 27th, 1 week before the midterm elections, Americans are coming together in our nation's capital to walk away from the Democratic Party. We are walking away from the lies, the hate, the violence, and vandalism. We are walking away from the vitriol, the name-calling, the censorship, the fake news. We are walking away from the phony and crooked investigations, the divisiveness, the race baiting. We are walking away from the attacks on our America. It is time to fight back with the greatest weapon at our disposal, the truth. It's time to take America back. We walked away alone, but now we march together.
And we're back. So my next guest is a super impressive young lady. I mean, blown away by this girl. So I found her on Twitter because she actually tagged me in a tweet that she sent out, which had a video attached to it. And I'll be honest with you, she was kind of calling some of us out, to be quite honestly. It was sort of a message, I think, to the conservative community saying, hey, guys, this is where we're falling short in a lot of areas. It served its purpose with me because it caught my attention, that's for sure. And I felt very compelled to reach out to her and say, yo, let's talk some more. I want to hear what you have to say. So I called her yesterday on the phone, and this girl, she's 18 years old. She's smarter than most people who are in their 40s and 50s. I mean, this girl is like the future of America. Blown away by this young lady. Before I bring her on, Rob, can we show her video from Twitter? Let's start with that.
Hey guys, so I'm a young conservative. I was a Trump supporter from the very beginning, and I have a message to all these young conservative leaders out there. All across the country, Democratic Socialist candidates, alt-left candidates are walking up to 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, and getting them registered to vote. They're saying things like, we can fight Trump, we're going to make everything equal, there'll be no more student debt. And they're getting them registered to vote. And I know that young conservative leaders want to ignore this because it means they can't go on Fox 24/7, but it's happening. Let's talk about David Hogg for a second. I know everyone thinks David Hogg is a joke, and I do too. But David Hogg has launched 3 national voter registration drives just in Florida, not to mention his speaking tour all over the Midwest, including Iowa, where he got several thousand young people registered to vote. He is making a real effort to flip all these seats Democrat. And you know what? That's his job. He should be good at it. But we have no counter to it. In fact, our counter to it is walk around saying, read the Federalist Papers and let's talk about capitalism. That's not a counter to when the other side is saying, the whole country's going to fall apart, you're all going to lose your rights, da, da, da. Economy and Federalist Papers is not a counter. Now, I know that I will get posts about how I'm a fake conservative, fake Republican, whatever, that's fine. But ask yourselves, do you see a lot of youth energy on the Republican side? Do you see kids no longer afraid about grade docking? Or no longer afraid that they're going to get punched by Antifa? No, you don't. Because these young conservative leaders who think they have the right to lecture Trump young conservatives, conservatives who are more aligned with Trump, about the right type of conservatism, do nothing. They do nothing. And in 2018 or 2020, if we lose Florida, it's going to be because of one reason: David Hogg. It's going to be because David Hogg, as much as he's evil, seems to have a pretty good grasp on what he has to do to get people to vote for Democrats. It's not just about gun control. It's about the package that young Democratic leaders are selling, young socialist leaders are selling. We can't fight ideology, action, and activism if we're not doing anything. So start to do something. And to all these young conservative leaders who think that going on Fox is enough, first of all, only Tucker is really watched by young conservatives. It's not. Please go do something. Thank you.
All right, so that young lady's name is Magdalene Rose. We spoke on the phone yesterday. I found her even more impressive when we spoke on the phone than I did in that video, which was pretty impressive. So I would love to welcome her on the show tonight and hear from, introduce her to you all, and let's hear some more from her. Magdalene, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. So were you talking to me in that video? That comment about Tucker, was that for me?
No, that wasn't so much for you as for more like the Turning Point people. I think you're pretty current.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And are you in high school or are you in college?
I'm in my freshman year of college.
Freshman year of college. Now, you are a very opinionated young lady, right? Were you always this way?
Yes. I was the captain of my debate team.
Oh, well, there you go. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in New York and then Massachusetts.
And okay, so tell me a little bit about your parents. How, are they political people?
They're conservative people. My dad's an immigrant. My mom's someone who grew up with very conservative values. And they were just pretty mainstream Republicans. They were not really like that involved or anything, but I think 2016 forced everyone to be involved.
That's a really, really great point. Actually, where did your dad immigrate from?
He immigrated from England and he's Indian.
Got it. Got it. All right. So did you always kind of identify as conservative yourself?
I didn't really think about it before the 2008 race, but then my parents started to watch Fox a little bit more, watching Hannity before he had gray hair. And we were paying attention to the 2008 race, and we were backing McCain because he'd been in war and he'd been a senator, he'd been doing all these things, had the experience. And I said that in class in 4th grade, and I got called a racist, and I got told, why don't you want Black man to succeed? Why are you voting for the old white guy? And it just sort of, came to a head when I wore my McCain button, as a lot of people were wearing their political stuff right before the general election. And it got stolen, and I found it like crushed in the library somewhere. So I think from that point on, I've wanted to get away from anything that treats another side like that, which is what liberalism is.
Okay, my jaw was just on the floor the whole time you were talking. I wasn't in the shot, so I don't think anyone could see. You were in 4th grade, and you got called a racist. By
the kids, and the teachers didn't say it, but there wasn't pushback. There was just sort of that's, at best I got, that's not nice. When kids were saying that and really, really pushing it, especially these 2 boys who would say to me all the time, why do you want the old white guy to win? What's wrong with you? All that stuff.
Were they white?
One of them was white, one of them wasn't. It's the meanness sort of transcended race at that point.
Right. Well, it tends to these days. Yeah. I love that you made the comment before 2008. You weren't that political. You were like, what, 6?
Yeah.
I mean, most of us were not in fourth grade, staunchly debating our conservative views in the classroom. So I find this remarkable. Were there other kids who shared your views or supported you during that time?
No, there weren't. And there were a lot of kids who were supporting the kids who were saying the mean stuff. So it wasn't that there weren't other politically engaged kids. There just weren't any that were on my side or were going to stand up for me.
No, it just goes to show that the pack mentality starts young.
Yeah.
It starts very young. So despite the way that you were treated, did that make you want to sort of retreat within yourself, or did you still say, okay?
Not at all. It made me get really much louder. And it made me not, like when I was in, I think, 8th grade, I heard about Hillary Clinton not being able to testify because she got a concussion or something. And that even more reinforced it. It was like the whole ridiculousness of the liberal thing. And the fact that if you turned on any news network aside from Fox, it was just complete praise. It was like the Clinton News Network. So it solidified me in conservatism and it made me much more loud.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay, so you decided to make a video.
I did.
And tell us why.
Well, this wasn't my first video, but about 4.5 months ago, that was right during what I call the Spring of David Hogg, which was the March for Our Life and everything. And I watched the way young conservatives handled the March for Our Lives, the kids that came out of Parkland who were left-leaning, and I was so disappointed and angry because there was never a pushback other than against gun control. There was never a pushback with these kids selling my generation on socialism, which has devastated so many countries and killed so many people. So that started it. And then I got blocked by some young conservative leaders for, really like yelling at them on Twitter to please do something because I'm really worried about my generation. I'm really worried about Antifa. I think people are not reporting as much as what's going on. And that made me start to make videos. And then I made videos about a whole thing of topics. But watching the video about Ocasio-Cortez go in and talk to young people about fighting Trump spurred that video in that moment.
Wow. Well, okay, so you just provided me the perfect transition to something, because I was going to ask you, I want to get into what your suggestions are for all of us. But before we do that, I would like to just take a look at a video of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And this is an interview that she did recently. Let's take a look at just a couple of minutes of it, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts. Rob, could we roll that, please?
Of single-payer health care, Canada, France, Germany. What we need to realize is that these investments are better and they are good for our future. These are generational investments so that they're not short-term band-aids, but they are really profound decisions about who we want to be as a nation and how we want to act as the wealthiest nation in the history of the world.
Right. Now, I get that, but the price tag for everything that you've laid out in your campaign is $40 trillion over the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. I understand that Medicare for All would cost more to some wealthier people and to the government and to taxpayers, while also reducing individual healthcare expenditures. But I'm talking about the overall package. You say it's not pie in the sky, but $40 trillion is quite a bit of money. And the taxes that you talked about raising to pay for this, to pay for your agenda, only count for 2. And we're going by left-leaning analysts.
Right. Well, when you look again at how our healthcare works, currently we pay much of these costs go into the private sector. So what we see is, for example, a year ago, I was working downtown in a restaurant. I went around and I asked, how many of you folks have health insurance? Not a single person did, because they would have had to have paid $200 a month for a payment for insurance that had an $8,000 deductible. What these represent are lower costs overall for these programs. And additionally, what this is a broader agenda. We do know and we acknowledge that there are political realities. They don't always happen with just the wave of a wand, but we can work to make these things happen. And in fact, when you look at the economic activity that it spurs, for example, if you look at my generation, millennials, the amount of economic activity that we do not engage in, the fact that we delay purchasing homes, that we don't participate in the economy and purchasing cars, etc., as fully as possible, is a cost. It is an externality, if you will, of unprecedented amounts of student loan debt.
I'm assuming I'm not going to get an answer for the other $38 trillion, but we'll have you back and maybe we can go over it.
So, so listen, $40 trillion, that's not that much. What's the big deal?
The big deal is that even if you added the $2.3 trillion you take in federal and state taxes, you're still missing $35.7 trillion. And the reason you're missing it is because it doesn't exist. It's not here. I don't know where she thinks it is, but it's not here. And when she talks about how all these developed countries have socialized medicine, this is true. They're not socialist countries. This is something that I don't think a lot of them understand. They have one aspect of socialism in their country. Everything else is not free. College in England runs about £9,000. So she's selling my generation on this whole free money, free everything thing, when it's just not true. And when Jake Trapper is pushing back on you, you know you've hit a really high level, stupid.
I think that you hit the nail right on the head. And, you know, the thing that amazes me about this girl is that when she does get kind of pressed on some of these issues, I mean, it's literally just a word salad of gobbledygook that comes out of her mouth. And I haven't been able to quite understand what exactly. I think you're smarter than me. I don't even mind telling you that. So maybe you can help me understand. Is what she's saying that it's okay that we're going to go $40 trillion in debt because less people are going to have diabetes? Is that right? Okay, because I understood it that once everybody has free health care, we're going to make all the money back because less people are going to have health problems.
No, she doesn't even actually know what she's talking about. She is a victim of the academia that has been going on in this country. You go to class and you fill out these bubbles on a test and you think you know things, but yet you have no idea how the Dow Jones works. You don't know what the stock market is. You don't know what investment portfolios are. So when she says all these things, it's just fluff in order to move on to the next thing about how Trump's a racist or the wall or something. She's just trying to run out the clock, and she's fooling people my age into investing in something that could sell away our country's economic standing and sovereignty, which is a real problem for me.
I really think that you have a career in political television. I mean, you're such a natural. You're so well spoken. You're so articulate. You're so bright, and I think even more than anything, you're so confident at such a young age. I mean, you really, really know what you're. Would you ever want to go into politics?
No, I want to go into strategy, and I want to start to attack this education problem that we have going on, because I think that it's going to come to a head in about 15 years when people my age cannot compete with kids coming out of China and Japan and South Korea.
All right, listen, I want to read some comments to you because you're blowing up the show right now. Richard says, this girl is spot on. They're coming by so fast I can't even read them. This girl's spot on. History B says, wow. Marissa Nelson says, oh my God, she's a smart cookie. Yale says, bingo. Sherry Trumbull says, offer to debate Cortez. Would you ever want to do that?
Totally do that. I would totally do that.
I mean, she won't show up for that. But I would love to maybe trick her into coming on the show, and then we'll just like have you jump out from behind like a plant or something and just be like, hi, I'm here.
Well, like on Ellen?
Yes, exactly. Precisely like that. Exactly. So you have no intention of running for office?
No, it's not my thing.
All right. So let's talk about immediate solutions. All right. You ready? You called me out on Twitter. You shined a big spotlight on me and others like me and said, listen, guys, wake up. You need to be doing a lot more. What do we need to be doing?
Well, I think that we have to look at which candidates in the 2016 primary got a lot of youth support. And when you look at that, the trend is more towards people like Rand Paul. A lot of young people my age who were conservative were supporting him because he's more of just a freedom guy. And that's something we have to be embracing within this party. And we also have to clean up the PR disaster that went on for 8 years during Obama, where we got the impression of being sort of like curmudgeon-y old people who were just complaining about things. If I was in charge of the RNC, honestly, I would launch some sort of a GOP ambassadorship where you had kids on college campuses walking around with questions about the GOP Ask Me shirts, and have them have to meet a certain amount of quota for registrations for voting. And I think if we attack it on that level, we'll have some more success. And I think we should also, even though Trump is president, still embrace this anti-establishment thing that we're seeing in other countries like Italy with the 5-star movement. I would do that. I would attack it from that position. And I would stop so much putting up only one type of young conservative. You know, I always say that like there's the girls in the appropriately length color block dresses and the boys in the suits. I think we need to say, you know, you can go to Comic-Con and vote for Republicans too.
Yeah. Well, look at, hey, I'm wearing a t-shirt and like lots of bracelets and right. Okay. And, I'm openly gay and, you know, I've got long hair. My friend always says you're like the perfect, like threat to them because you actually look like a liberal. I still look like a liberal. All right. So one of the things I want to accomplish with the WalkAway campaign, Magdalene, is I would love to assemble a team of dynamic, incredible WalkAway speakers. I know you're not a WalkAway yourself, but I would snatch you up in a second. And I would love to have them go get out on these college campuses, get to rallies and public speaking events and something. Is that something we could ever talk about?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, of course. That'd be awesome.
Would you be willing to sign an exclusive contract saying you won't go on anyone's show but mine for the rest of your life?
No, because I think it would benefit you to have me on other shows if I was working for you.
God, you're slick. God, you're slick. All right. No, listen, I think that you're outstanding. I think that you're about to become a big star and you totally deserve it. You're so bright. You're so articulate. You're so well spoken. I think that you represent the future of young conservatism in America. And I just want you to know that I'm so glad that I found you or you found me or whoever found whom, and you came on this show. I want you to come back regularly and talk more and more and more because you have an important voice and we need to hear it more often. Will you come back?
I will.
Before you go, you deserve it. Let's read a few more comments because these people are loving you. Rachel Leon says, Trump, call this girl. You need to get her on your team. No, she has an exclusive contract with me. Light Switch says she has no stage fright. Joseph Leonard says, again, we need WalkAway testimonial snippet ads. Okay, yes, that's true. Whoop, 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 whoop. These people love you. Magdalene, you're amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show again. Show tonight, and I can't wait to have you back again.
Thank you.
Keep in touch with me. Bye, sweetie.
Bye.
All right, so I think we're going to dive right into our last segment tonight, which is our media mogul, Maria Albanese. Maria, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Yes, you're so welcome, darling. And so it's been a big week, Maria.
It's been a great big week. And tonight has been a big night with the declassifying of the FISA.
Okay, let's dive right in. Tell Maria, what do we need to know this week that we don't know? What is the media not telling us?
Well, they're telling you this tonight because it's big news, but the Democrats are really quiet about that. Finally, Trump has decided to declassify the Carter Page FISA application. So I don't know when that's going to happen. It could happen in October for the October surprise. It could happen next week. He has instructed the DNI to get on it and release it. So we have lots of big things happening.
Is there? Do you care to make any predictions tonight as to what we will find out?
We are going to find out that this Mueller investigation is going to fall apart. And I would expect that there's going to be some criminal indictments coming down the road because the FISA was most likely obtained fraudulently. That's my prediction.
All right. All right. What else we got?
I hope I'm right.
Oh, I know you're going to be right. You're right about everything.
And what was I going to talk about tonight was we're going to circle back to Bannon, and your last guest would be a dynamite Bannon protege. Don't you agree?
Oh, isn't she amazing?
She wants to study strategy. She mentioned 5-star in Italy, which he is very much a proponent of. Steve Bannon was disinvited from the New Yorker Festival, which was supposed to be open minds, discuss issues. He was disinvited. Well, The Economist was holding Open Futures this weekend, and they did invite him. And there's a great interview there. It's about a half an hour long. He walked into the lion's den, surrounded by nothing but liberals. They always have their fingers in their ear. The editor had her fingers in her ear. Nobody wants to listen to him. But if you take the time to listen to everything he is preaching about economic nationalism, you will see in this interview, there's nothing racist about this man whatsoever, just because he is talking about every country taking back their sovereignty, focusing on their own economic nationalism. And once you can do that in each country, including our own, then we can work together globally.
Right.
That's basically his message, but they're too busy being rude. I'm glad that he went. I don't know how he stands it, but he does go to keep spreading his message. Now, he's had Trumpet War that I told you last week had dropped on OAN. They played many encore presentations over their regular programming because it's been in such high demand. As of tomorrow, if you go to their Twitter, you can get a code, and Western Journalism will be offering it for free. And I'm sure we're going to get it for free from here to the midterms because he wants this out for everybody to see. Great, great, great documentary movie, Trumpet War. He started production on that 8 months ago, and it's ready for the midterm. Now, I want to talk about another midterm tool.
Before you change the subject, was that so we can go on Western Journal? Is that what it was?
Western Journalism.
Western Journalism.
Yes, but if you go to Twitter or Facebook and follow Trumpet War and Citizens of the American Republic, you're going to get all the information you need of where this movie is playing. So they're going to provide a link. It's been on OAN, which they were also offering free if you had signed up for Cloud TV. For a week, you could see the movie and decide whether you wanted to keep that as a promotion. But as of tomorrow night, it's going to move over to Western Journalism.
Gotcha.
And you can watch it for free. There's a code there on Twitter, and share it. Just get the links out, put it in the comment sections. Let's spread the word because we have lots of midterm tools. WalkAway is one of them. WalkAway is a major midterm tool. Trumpet War, a second midterm tool.
What did you think of the movie?
Oh, I love it. Just like he did Clinton Cash. They put the truth out there. You cannot deny it. So I will give it kudos. But the fact that OAN was playing it on Encore over a lot of their regular programming tells you a lot if the demand was that high. And it's been playing, I want to say, almost a week now. In fact, another Encore was on tonight at 10 o'clock. But most people watching this will miss that. But tomorrow, check in for Western Journalism. See if you could catch it there.
That sounds amazing. Okay, so you were saying that, and the next thing on your list is
James O'Keefe with Project Veritas. He has done many undercover documentary exposés through the years. I think he started years ago with Planned Parenthood. He moved on to Acorn in 2009. He did the election fraud, which was fabulous. And now for the midterms, we have dropping this week, Deep State Unmasking. That is going to be great because he is saying, as usual, he's never the source. He is letting the sources expose themselves. He's letting the deep state expose themselves. And he teased us with, we may just find out who that New York Times op-ed anonymous writer was. So I don't know if he actually knows, but he gave us a great tease with that. And I'm looking forward to that dropping this week.
Do you have any thoughts on that yourself? Who it might be?
No, it could be almost anybody.
I think it was Sarah Jong.
You know, when you have when you have the opposition, it could be almost anybody.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Hey, Maria, before you go on, I want to read some comments because the people love you. Maria Rocks. Sorry, the name went by too fast. I couldn't read that. Maria Rocks. Maria's awesome. Somebody said they love your voice. James O'Keefe is a national treasure, says Yelra. And then, of course, somebody wanted to know, what is it with Maria and Bannon?
Political crush. Love him.
Political crush.
He's just, you know, it drives me mad that the left are allowed to have their political operatives. And there's no problem. They have Soros. They have David Brock. That's fine. When the right has an operative that we need so desperately, it's like voodoo. You mentioned Steve Bannon's name on Twitter. It's like mentioning Voldemort. Now I'm noticing people are slowly coming back. Everybody that went and scattered and hid last year when he left Breitbart, that were afraid to utter his name, I am noticing like a movie. They're starting to come out from behind the trees and from behind the rocks. And now everybody's starting again. Oh, I love Bannon. I miss Bannon. So that's good. We need that energy because he did give us a lot in 2016 with Clinton Cash. I swear that was something that catapulted us with the Democrats and the independents. I think it was vital. And I think Trump at war is needed now. We need all the help we can get.
Is Trump at War a red pill movie?
It could be, absolutely. If you were a walkaway person who you're looking at it now from the other side. You see, they're going to show the violence that the Trump supporters are up against, how we're suppressed. But then they're going to go into things like trade and different things. I think everything he does is a red pill moment. I think everything James O'Keefe does is a red pill moment, because I'm going to bet you there's a lot of new walkaways that, because they were watching CNN for years, that they have no idea who James O'Keefe is.
Right.
And he did a lot of undercover work, especially exposing the rigging of the elections with people's own testimonials when he's undercover. But again, everybody wants to put their fingers in their ears and pretend it doesn't exist. So I would go find him on YouTube, his websites, try to find a lot of his old videos. Start there and then prepare for this week, Deep State Unmasking.
Maria, why don't you reiterate for all of us again what it is that you feel like, why is it so important, this upcoming election, and what should we be doing?
I feel this is so vital, because if we lose control of the House and Senate, then the president will never be able to fulfill what we elected him to do. We're never going to know if this worked. And he's doing such a great job on so many levels, but there are things that only Congress can get done. And without having the support of Congress behind him, his hands are tied. There's only so many executive orders you can do that can be undone by the next administration. And then what will 2020 look like? If you break the spirit of everyone that came out to vote for him in 2016 and that are happy now with the economy, they're happy with trying to get our sovereignty back so that we put Americans back to work. No, when you listen to Bannon in that speech, he lays it out clearly. He is not against legal immigration. He feels once all Americans are in the STEM jobs that the schools are pushing, how can you teach the children coming out of high school and college STEM and then not have jobs for them because they're being held by H-1B visa holders?
Right.
So once we take care of us, then we allow legal immigration, which has its problems, but we're not going to be able to fix anything without control of the House and Senate.
Right.
Then we're done, because I don't know what 2020 will look like. So it is vital. I tell we need everybody to turn out like it's 2016. Everybody, if you have to hold your nose, you've walked away from something. You walked away from the Democrats. You only have two options. If you're a libertarian that swears, I can never vote for Donald Trump, well, that's a vote for a Democrat. A no vote is a vote for a Democrat. We need everybody to turn out like it's 2016. It is that vital. He has everything against him.
Okay, guys, did you hear that? Please say that again, because it's so important what you just said. It's brilliant. What did you just say? Say it again.
That even if you are of the libertarian mind and that you feel you can never vote for a Donald Trump, your only option is to vote for a Democrat. A zero vote for anyone is a vote for a Democrat. We need the bodies to show up in droves, just like we did it. And now we have it even better, because now we have the walkaway movement. We have even more people now than we did in 2016. There's no reason why we cannot have the red tsunami.
That's
really no reason.
Absolutely.
The only thing that we lose is one, we still have to deal with fraud. That's always going to be there until it's addressed. But if people become complacent and stay home and think, my vote doesn't matter, if somebody else is going to cover it, we've got this. No, I don't care what you have to do. You have to get out and vote on November 6th, and it has to be red.
Maria, the people are saying, Maria's begging. The people are saying, yes, we must vote. We must vote. Vote Dem. Amen. 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 Thank you both for your efforts. And thank you, History B, JC, DM, Synergy 222, who's still saying, wow, that young girl just blew me away. I mean, yes, she's quite impressive. I really do want to make her sign an exclusive contract saying she can only come on this show. I think she's fantastic. I would love to have that.
We need her, and we need to get her help. Somebody got to get this show to the powers that be, because she's crying out for it. David Hogg was elevated within days. They were mobilized.
Right.
We need to get our side to listen to her. She's willing to go out there and do the heavy lifting. We need to capture our youth, because they are being captured by the other side, and they're continuing to be brainwashed.
That's exactly right, Maria. All right, Maria, before we wrap up tonight, Rob, do you have something to tell me? I see you writing on your little board. So I just got a little message from my producer saying, do you know what time it is? Okay, we ran a little bit over. Sorry. All right. Next week will be shorter. So before we go, Maria, I just wanted to say to everybody, the Walkaway March on Washington, this is going to be a fantastic event. This is October 26th through the 28th. And we're doing a gala dinner Friday night at Trump International Hotel with fantastic speakers. On October 27th, we're doing the march and the rally, marching from the DNC to the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. And October 28th, Sunday, we're doing a closing brunch and giving people the day to go travel back home and be with their families. You can find out up-to-date information at walkawaymarch.com. And we really encourage anybody to please go to walkawaymarch.com, click fundraising, and be willing to make a donation. This is a purely grassroots effort. We're putting this up ourselves, and at this point, our fundraising has been incredible. We want to keep that going. If we keep raising funds at the rate that we have been so far, we're going to be just fine. Maria, don't you think the March on Washington is going to be a great event?
It's going to be fabulous. I can feel it. I can see a sea of black shirts. Walk away.
Walk away.
Going to be beautiful.
It's going to be beautiful. And Maria's going to be there. I don't know if she knows it yet, but she's going to be there. She's definitely going to be there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap up tonight's show. I just want to say, as always, that I am walking away, and I encourage all of you to do the same. Walk away. Good night, everybody.